Hi, my name is Amanda Burrier, and I'm a student here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln studying special education. I'm currently trying to explore some of the different ways that I can utilize virtual reality in my future classroom. I personally have no experience whatsoever using virtual reality. However, I have researched some of the benefits of using it in a classroom setting, and so I am really looking forward to diving in and trying some new things with this. When trying to kind of set a goal and really determine what I wanted to use this for, I did go on to designkit.org, and I really focused on their How Might We section. And that section kind of focused on goal setting and making sure it wasn't too broad or too narrow. So my first initial goal that I had was, okay, how might we use this in a special ed classroom? And I realized that one was a little bit too broad, and I needed to kind of narrow that down to hit some key points first. And so then I narrowed that down to how might we use this to provide comfort, interaction, and knowledge in a special ed classroom. And then I realized that that was a little bit too narrow of a statement. So I finally came to how might we use this in an innovative and interesting way to expand student experiences in a special ed classroom. And that gave me a lot to work with and kind of a lot more to play around with. So my first plan for using this virtual reality in a classroom is kind of using it as a reinforcement. A lot of times students with special needs can grow agitated or overwhelmed in new settings or just from their work that they're given. And so they're often given a place to go to calm down. Oftentimes this is a separate room that has pillows, blankets, music, things like that. So I figured it'd be a really cool thing to utilize virtual reality in that kind of setting to allow them to kind of go into this virtual reality and give them a place that they can relax and calm down and things like that, whether that be a beach or just beautiful scenery or a zoo even, whatever would help them kind of calm down and get back into the correct mind frame to start working a lot. The next thing that I thought of exploring of using this in my classroom was to allow it as a simulation to help people practice with eye contact. A lot of times students with special needs have a hard time with social interaction, especially with maintaining and making eye contact. So I figured it would be a very useful thing to kind of simulate, another person being there and allowing them to look up and maintain eye contact with them and kind of practice that without actually being in a true social setting to kind of take some of the pressure of that off. The next thing that I thought of exploring with this was practicing in a new classroom. A lot of times students with special education will be put into a general education classroom with some extra assistant or with a paraeducator. But oftentimes this transition can be a stressful one for them. And so I thought that it would be a really useful thing to allow to use the virtual reality in a way that is, allowing them to see what this classroom is like, experience being around the other students in their seat with the teacher before actually throwing them right into that classroom to kind of prepare them from that and to allow it to not be such an overwhelming experience. Past that, my last idea that I still kind of am working with a little bit, trying to just work some kinks out of what I'm going to do with it, is kind of helping students utilize more of their life skills too. As I do want to work with high school students primarily, part of my job is going to be helping them transition into the real world as well. And so teaching them some of these life skills like finding their name on a schedule, or figuring out where something may go on a shelf or where certain buttons are on a register. So having this virtual reality that can allow them to see that and see where things go and find their name on a list, things like that could definitely benefit them and allow that transition process to go a little bit easier. This following week, I do plan on going into the lab and starting to actually work with the virtual reality and trying to mess around with some of the things that I plan on doing. And I am very excited for this process and to see where this is going to take me and how I will be able to use this in my classroom.